Hello guys, my name is Guillaume and here are 5 tips to learn how to play slide guitar. Hello guys, I hope you're doing great today. So about a month ago we did the Valentine's Day contest and we wrote a song for a couple, and for that song I had to play slide guitar. I'd never played slide on electric guitar before, so I kind of had to figure it out. And I've been really hooked since then. I'm trying to place it in pretty much every other video that we do here. It's a lot of fun, so I thought I'd share sort of my progress and what I figured out about slide guitar with you. Tip number 1 is obviously going to be which kind of slide and on which finger, because you got a bunch of options. Slides are usually made out of glass, brass or other composite materials. There is no golden rule saying that you need that kind of slide to play that kind of music or such things really. It's a matter of personal preference. What kind of feel are you looking for? What kind of weight and resistance, because that does matter. What kind of size? So trial and error. You should definitely try a bunch if you have the chance, or order a bunch and then just send back the ones that didn't agree with you. So that's what I did, and I ended up figuring out that I liked brass better. I liked the feel of it, the weight and resistance that comes with it, as well as the sound, of course. And I also figured out that I like to wear it on my pinky better. The general consensus among guitar players would be to either wear it on your pinky or your ring finger, generally. So yeah, this one works best for me. I still have these 3 fingers to do like regular chording, and I'm not just stuck with the slide, which is cool. So that led me to that particular example, which is the Rock Slide Joey Landreth signature. Tip number 2 has to do with your guitar setup. Again, there is no golden rule about this. It's all about personal preference and the intensity that you put in your sliding / fretting, but here are things that did work for me. The first thing I did is raise my action. I like a fairly high action in general, but putting it slightly higher than usual really helped me remove the noise of the slide actually hitting the fret, and allowed me to focus on actually playing. Changing the strings to a thicker gauge also helped me a little, because a thicker gauge of strings in the same tuning means just more tension. So it takes more strength to actually pull the string down. So you remove a considerable amount of fretting noise with the slide by doing so. Tip number 3 is something that made a world of difference for me, because I usually played with a pick before and I could never really get the sound that I was looking for, or just the right amount of muting of the strings that I wasn't playing. So I started finger picking when I was playing slide, and that changed everything. It makes muting other strings a lot easier, a lot more natural. By just placing your fingers like that, you're sure that you can play this string and the other 2 will not resonate, even though the slide might be in contact with them. And that's just life-saving. On top of the fact that finger picking gives you a lot more options dynamic-wise. You can pluck a lot softer than if you had a pick. Tip number 4 is more of an option than anything that's necessary to play slide, but you kind of have to be aware of it, that a lot of slide players tune differently and mostly open tunings. So open E, open D, open C tuning, even if you're a fan of Joy Landreth or Ariel Posen, for example. It's not necessary, but it makes the relationship between the strings a lot more easy to navigate with the slide. So up to now was an E standard, but this is what open E sounds like. And that's essentially turning my guitar into a big E major chord, and that makes the relationship in between the strings a lot easier, and you don't have to mute as much, essentially allowing you to do things like this. And finally, tip number 5 is be mindful of your gain structure. I'm not saying that you should reconsider everything you've built so far in terms of pedal and amp setup, but playing slide implies a lot of different variations. There's that high end, that very steely kind of aspect to it. And so that might mean for you that you'll need to change things around a little. So for example, if you usually only use one drive pedal because you like a big, crunchy, open, dynamic sound, it might just not cut it for slide, because to even out the notes, you might need a bit more compression. In that case, stacking overdrive, for example, might be a really good way around this. I'll just give you a quick example by using the Ultraphonics into the left side of the GHS double barrel. So that kind of gives you more wiggle room on the gainy side of things, but keep in mind that you can always clean it up with your guitar volume pot. So that's a really cool sound. Something else that you can do if you have an old fuzz pedal lying around that you don't use because it doesn't really cut it for you as a rhythm tone, try using that as your first gain stage into another overdrive playing slide. You'll see. And on that, I hope that video was useful if you're considering starting to play slide guitar. This is not a bullet point list of things that you absolutely have to do, but they did help me to some extent, so I really hope they'll help you as well. Please tell me what you thought in the comment section. What kind of struggle did you run into while playing slide guitar? I'm really curious. While you're down there, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much in advance, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.